It's interesting that Bill Belichick becomes the head coach at the University of North Carolina just when some of these NFL fans like me are starting to get into this sport, Tony, a little bit. Like we talked about it on our show this morning. I grew up in Boston, right? It is a professional sports town, you can be sure. I rooted for the Boston College football teams, but they were never really a contender. But if you don't think this 12-team college playoff gets me interested, and you don't think Alabama lost 3 games, they almost got in the 12th team. You don't think Bill Belichick in 3 years could get some team with 3 losses or 2 losses, find a way into this tournament and win that 7th championship like Tom Brady did in Tampa, match him? I mean, Stevie, what are your thoughts? You're an NFL and a college football fan.
My first thought is that there's a part of me that doesn't believe this is actually happening. I really don't. And there's a part of me that's also like, oh, well, he hired Michael Lombardi as the UNC football general manager. So it's like, okay, so maybe I do have to believe this is happening. I mean, Adam Schefter reported it, so it's happening. I know this is real life. But it's still Bill Belichick going to college to coach, and not at one of these elite programs, not at Michigan, not at Ohio State, not, one of these programs you could associate a Bill Belichick with.
Yep.
Did the NFL send a message to Bill Belichick that we're done with you? You don't have a place here. There's no general interest in you. Maybe he had some feelers, his agent, whoever else was putting some feelers out there for him as well. Maybe they had a feeling they're like, you know what, Bill, this just isn't going to happen. So maybe you have to look elsewhere.
And Tony, I'll go to you here. It didn't seem like there were necessarily any suitors in the NFL, for next season. It is early, and I will say last year in the offseason, I was on the record saying I definitely wouldn't have wanted Bill Belichick at that age to sort of lead my NFL organization. I think he's done himself some good in the media. I think people have started to get to know the personality, seeing that he can really sort of relate to people maybe in ways that you don't think so. But, I heard Damian Woody talking, Tony, about how the NFL is all about collaboration now, and Bill Belichick sort of wants to go in and be the man. I will say he is a football historian. He probably loves the fact that it's not a big program, right? Right, Steve? Like he'd probably rather go to a team like that. I guess his dad, he grew up in sort of that area at times with his dad. Lawrence Taylor played at North Carolina. It's just dripping with irony. Drake May went to North Carolina. Drake May couldn't get a ring there. Now he's in New England and Belichick's back there. So I just think all the different fabrics are great for him. But Tony, don't you think? I mean, I said a few weeks ago that in the NFL, I felt like I was 100% sure someone would bite on Belichick next year.
Yeah, I was surprised nobody didn't. This is going to be fascinating, guys. I think this is great for college football. Could you imagine in a couple of years, like a Bill Belichick versus Deion Sanders college football playoff game? I mean, I love the fact that he's not going to a big program. I think it's really, really, really great for viewership. But I do have a little bit of concern. I think one of the reasons, if you let me speculate a little bit, that Bill Belichick wasn't hired is because he's kind of a hard ass. And he's not a player's coach. So now in the college arena, when you're working with younger kids, that hard ass thing might work against him. Like, could this blow up in his face? Could this be a situation where he brings Michael Lombardi over, he brings his son over, the table's set, and then he just pisses everybody off, and it's an epic disaster? I don't think it's going to go that way. He's too smart. He's too good of a coach, but you've got to leave a little bit of doubt in your mind that this could blow up. And if it does, it will blow up spectacularly.
But if that's what ran him out of the NFL, why shouldn't we have some sort of belief that this wouldn't happen in college?
My point exactly.
Right? Like these guys are paid professional athletes.
Yeah,
right?
With younger, entitled, bratty players.
He's relating well. There she is, Josie. Good time. I was going to say he's relating very well to his 24-year-old girlfriend, as is Bill Belichick. And what I will say is I do think he's a little bit misunderstood. You ask his players, right? And you watch some of the behind-the-scenes footage. Like, this guy is cracking jokes a lot, right? And one thing about Belichick, right? He is so adamant about wanting players to celebrate when they make a big play. And people don't talk about that enough, right? It's like he wants you to go nuts. And so I do believe, too, you cross over a threshold of age where you actually can sort of relate to younger people in a different way. Like, right? Like my mom's Belichick's age, right? She listens to me more than I listen to her, right? She's like, okay, yeah, I'm getting old. I got to listen to this young guy a little more than. And so I do think Belichick does have the ability to sort of soften himself a little bit as he gets older. You think he hasn't learned from all the, even if you call it adversity over the last year, all the different sort of circumstances in his life? I'm just beyond excited for it. But I'm as a fan of his, it's pretty disappointing that I really do believe no one really wanted him, because I think he would have stayed in the Big Show if that was the case.
But I mean, Atlanta didn't want him last year. They chose Raheem Morris over him.
Yep.
Right. And so the coaching jobs, are going to be available, like the Bears are available. Would the Bears want him? Probably not, because they probably would have reached out to him. But you know what, Jay? The one thing I never even thought of that. When you said Lawrence Taylor went to North Carolina, never crossed my mind before. And we know how much Bill Belichick loves Lawrence Taylor. Like, favorite football player in the history of football, with Ed Reed probably number 2, right?
Right. I know everything. Matt Patricia's going to coach the defense. Where's LT at,